on a quiet morning in Abuja, 13th July 2025, Nigeria awoke to the news. Muhammadu Buhari, the former military ruler turned elected president, has passed away. A man once hailed as a no-nonsense disciplinarian, a champion of anti-corruption, and a patriotic nationalist. But history has layers. Today, we look beyond the headlines. This is the lifetimes and controversies of General Muhammadu Buhari. Born on December 17, 1942, in Daura, Katsina State, Buhari was the 23rd child of his father. Raised in the dry, resilient lands of northern Nigeria, he embodied a Spartan discipline from an early age. He joined the Nigerian military at 19, trained in Kaduna and abroad, and by his early 40s, he was one of the most powerful men in Nigeria. In 1983, amidst growing national corruption and economic collapse, Buhari led a military coup that ousted the civilian government of President Shehu Shagari. He ruled Nigeria with an iron fist, silencing the press, jailing politicians, and launching his infamous war against indiscipline. To some, it was a needed correction. To others, it was the beginning of authoritarianism. He returned in the Fourth Republic as a born-again Democrat, contesting presidential elections 4 times, finally winning in 2015 with the backing of a new coalition and unprecedented youth support. Nigeria had grown tired of Goodluck Jonathan's government. Buhari promised change. He promised reform. But promises are easy. Now let's look at the 10 lies of the Buhari administration. Lie number 1. We have defeated Boko Haram. In truth, Boko Haram mutated. ISWAP emerged. Massacres continued from Borno to Niger State. Nigeria bled. At that point, his spokesman, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, came out and said, well, Boko Haram wasn't like defeated fully, but technically defeated. Nigeria still bleeds. Lie number 2. We will end medical tourism. Yet, Buhari spent over 200 days abroad as a president, mostly in London, seeking healthcare, while Nigerian hospitals collapsed. Lie number 3. We removed fuel subsidy. Not only was it never removed, fuel subsidies ballooned to over 4 trillion naira, and the process became more opaque. Nigerians were blindfolded. Lie number 4. We've lifted 10 million Nigerians out of poverty. The reality, 133 million Nigerians fell into multi-dimensional poverty by 2022, according to NBS. Lie number 5. 3 million jobs will be provided yearly. The reality, instead, unemployment surged. Youth unemployment crossed 40%. Millions left the country. The Japa wave became very, very active under Buhari. Lie number 6. No sacred cows in the fight against corruption. The reality, Buhari's allies like Babachi Alawa face little consequence. The FCC turned into a political tool and was used to only harass those who were in opposition to Buhari. Many of his cronies who were accused of corruption moved over to APC and their sins were forgiven. Lie number 7. NNPC will be transparent. The reality? Billions went unaccounted. No remittances. Even the president, who was also petroleum minister, offered no answers to key questions that were begging for answers. Lie number 8. We don't borrow for consumption. True? The reality? Nigeria's debt jumped from 12 trillion to 77 trillion naira, with most borrowed funds going to service past loans and salaries. In fact, under Muhammadu Buhari, Nigeria borrowed the highest loans of all past presidents combined together. Lie number 9. We will ensure free, fair elections. After many years of persuasion, Buhari eventually signed the new Electoral Act in 2022. However, key areas were left. Grey areas were not attended to. And what did it result to? The 2023 elections were marred by rigging allegations, failure to upload real-time results, and disenfranchisement. A lot of people lost their lives caught injured. And that election that would have served as a turning point in the history of Nigeria created even more problems for the country's electoral system. Lie number 10. The president's office was infested by rats. His spokesman, Garba Shehu, in 2017, instead of explaining why Buhari wouldn't resume office after returning from a long medical leave because he was obviously ailing, the presidency through Garba Shehu claimed that rats had taken over Aso Rock, a lie from the pit of hell. Just a few days ago, he admitted it was a lie. It was all done to protect Buhari from scrutiny. Now, what legacy Buhari left behind? Under Buhari, Nigeria suffered 2 recessions, spiraling inflation, fierce scarcity, and unprecedented brain drain, also known as Japa. His government faced accusations of northern favoritism, suppression of dissent, and press censorship. NSAS protesters were shot in Lekki, while bandits abducted students in Kankara, Tegini, and Zafara, unabated. To some, Muhammadu Buhari was a disciplined nationalist who loved his country. To others, he was a disconnected autocrat, shielded by his kitchen cabinet, blind to suffering. His legacy is a paradox. The man who fought corruption, yet presided over historic levels of misgovernance. The leader who promised change, but delivered fatigue. The final farewell. Now the general is gone, and the nation reflects, not just on what he did, but on what could have been. May history judge him fairly, and may Nigeria rise beyond the shadows of broken promises. Please subscribe for deeper documentaries on Africa's power, politics, and paradoxes. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Buhari a patriot or a failed promise? This is Fix Africa News Network.